Hey there, Lindsay here, the Frugal Crafter. Today we're going to make a card something like this. I wasn't in love with the way this card turned out, but I like it pretty well, and I think I know what I want to do differently to make it turn out the way I would like. There is a challenge over at Oriental Stamp Art where we're going to use these folded circles into squares. So I'm going to show you how to do that first, and then I'm going to show you how to use the Derwent metallic pencils that I actually just bought them. I had a framing order to put in, and I got them on sale with a discount for about $12, regular $26, so I thought I'd give them a try. I'll show you how I'm going to use them. I had a request for a tutorial on those, and I'll show you why. I don't think that, well, I'll let you be the judge. All right, so to make the little folded squares, what we're going to do is take a circle punch. Now, I found that if I use an 1.5-inch punch, and then I take a 1-inch square, which I just cut out of a piece of thin cardboard, and use it as a template, I can center that up and then fold my edges in. And now here's a tip you want to do. One side and then the opposite side. You don't want to go around the circle, because if you do that it's going to get off kilter a bit. And then fold in your two ends. And then you have your little, you've got your little folded square, and then I recommend going over it with like a bone folder. You can actually flip it over and just kind of rub over the back. This would be really cute to do with your like sewing theme stamps too, which I kind of thought of after I started doing this card. But since the challenge is over at Oriental Stamp Art, you have to use an Oriental themed card. So what I'm going to do is grab a piece of plain black cardstock, and before I do any sort of gluing, I'm going to do some stamping. And to stamp with this, I'm going to use metallic pencils. They are water soluble. I'll show you the package here. They come in, I think they only come in a set of 12, or you can get them in 2 sets of 6 if you prefer trying out a smaller set. I quite frankly think they're expensive for what they are, but this is what the package looks like. And I was eyeballing them at Hobby Lobby, and I decided to wait until I had to place a framing order, and then I got them at quite a discount. Even at that discount, I'm still not feeling it. I'm still not feeling the pencils, but maybe I'll give you some ideas. And I find the more that I use a product also, the more I tend to like it. So what I'm going to do is actually use these pencils to color on the stamp. I've wet the stamp with my water, and I'm actually just going to color it here. I'm going to actually shake my stamp off on the floor. I'm down in my basement studio. I wouldn't do that on your nice floor or carpet, obviously, but I wanted to get some of that water off of there. I want to bring the green out into the wings a little bit using the side of the pencil. I just can't seem to get the color to release well enough when I just use them plain, and when I just color stuff in. So I find that this really really helps me get a nice color, a nice metallic color. I'll show you my swatches I did in just a second, because I want you to be informed in case you've been eyeballing these pencils too. And I'm not going to say they're bad. I love everything that Derwent makes generally, but this particular set I was not thrilled with. Now I'm going to go over it with a silver pencil. The silver tends to make everything show up a little bit more, so I'm just going to go over it with the silver. I've got an awful lot of water here. I'm hoping that I get a crisp impression. Really want to get a lot of pigment in there. Alright, now I'm going to stamp this up here in the corner. I'm not sure if that's the corner I headed on the other one, but it doesn't really matter. And I'm just giving it a second for the paint to transfer. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to let that dry. Actually, why don't I dry it with the heat gun so we can get on to the next step. That'll be a little bit better since I already showed you how to do the circle thing. I've got some pretty juicy paint there. It wants to puddle around and move, but you'll be able to see as it dries that it shows up more on my black cardstock. There we go. It almost looks like we use bleach to stamp. So if you're looking for that technique, that's kind of a cool technique, but it doesn't really look metallic to me. It looks very matte, and so that's what I was really disappointed with, because I was really hoping to have a nice metallic coloring medium. So what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to go over this with the pencils, which will make them a little bit more metallic. And I'll show you the sample that I did when I was practicing, which actually came out much better than the one I did on my card sample, but I haven't been able to replicate it again, unfortunately. But you can see how if you haven't liquefied it with water, it does have more of a sheen to it. It's probably due to the binder. And maybe it's that they have to grind the mica particles down so small to get it to show up. I'm not sure exactly why, but it does look more metallic when it is colored straight. Now the other thing I noticed, that the more I use these, the better they work, because I think they just feel so dry when they first come out of the package. So it seems like the more I color with these, the more they release the pigment. And that could be because I'm using water with them, and it's just kind of softening them up the lid a bit. So now we've got more of a metallic sheen, and I like that much better. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is, so with my sample, what did I do with that? Oh my, over here. With my sample, I stamped with some metallic ink, and then I dusted it over with some metallic eyeshadow, but I found that it was really sticking to the paper even where I didn't stamp, which is kind of pretty, but then I couldn't really see my happy birthday that I stamped. So then I decided I would try this with my actual Pearl-Ex powder and my clear ink rather than a metallic pad, and then we'd see how that looks. So why don't we go ahead and do that. This stamp is really old. It is by Personal Stamp Exchange. All the other stamps I'm using today are from About Art Accents. I'm just going to stamp right over that. Because I know a lot of this is going to get covered up with the little squares that we're going to glue down. And I want to get my sentiment on there too, hopefully straight. And the reason I did all this stamping at one time rather than adding as I go is because I'm going to use a large mop brush, which it looks kind of like a mop. It's got really big soft hair on it. I'm gathering some Pearl-Ex now. I'm very stingy. I don't like to waste any of it, so I'm tapping it back into the jar right over my paper, because it doesn't take a lot, and I'm just going to go ahead and dust. But the only kind of dusting I do, actually. Tap some of the excess back. This will be plenty for the whole page, I think. And look how nice and bright that is. This is a duo color, which means it'll be a different color depending on how you have your paper tilted. So it might be green in one light, and it might be gold in another light. So in case you're wondering about those, I got the big Pearl-Ex sampler pack many years ago. It had little tiny bottles of all the different colors, and that served me very well because you really don't use a lot of it. So that was, I think it was like, was it 36 colors? I'm not exactly sure, but look at that. So it's got a real lot of shine. Okay. And now I'm going to glue down my squares. I'm going to do a little bit more stamping, but I want to figure out how I want to lay out my squares here first. So, if you're doing this, just, I use double-sided paper, and I just I'm kind of alternating what side I have up. This paper is by K & Company. I think that origami paper would look really nice also because it's really thin and easy to fold. This was a little more challenging to fold because it was thicker, but it certainly wasn't any big deal. It wouldn't dissuade me from doing it. So use what you have there. I think I'm gonna maybe even offset that up a little bit. Make whatever pattern you like, and just kind of play with it until you have it just the way you want it. I think I like it like that. And now I'm going to use my glue gun to glue these down. You can use whatever adhesive that you prefer for this. I think I would use a wet adhesive or a hot glue gun just because that mica powder may make your tape not so sticky, because the pigment powders will get on your tape and then make it difficult to adhere. So just keep that in mind. The nice thing about using the Pearl-Ex rather than a metallic ink pad is that metallic ink pads are kind of greasy, and they take longer to dry. So, you might be smudging your fingers all over this if you don't heat set it or emboss it. So that's just kind of a nice little advantage that you get when you use the Pearl-Ex powders. And I did try it with the eyeshadow, but the eyeshadow went stuck everywhere, and it was pretty, but it just didn't give me the really, really bright sparkliness that the Pearl-Ex did. So, use what you have, but those are just my observations. I want another one of these down here, maybe. Yeah, why not? Because I might put an embellishment on there. I'm not sure. All right, what are we at for time? 9, almost 10 minutes. Look at that. Time flies, doesn't it? All right, so now I'm going to do a little more stamping with the pencils. Now, I want to show you this. So I was just kind of playing around with the pencils. I swatched out the colors. First thing I did was I swatched out the colors on black. As you can see, they're quite opaque, but as they got washed out, as I washed them out with water, they lost a lot of their opacity, and they're not really terribly shiny. And then I did it on white watercolor paper, and then I thought, well, you know, this, even if I don't like them for metallic pencils, they will work nice with my Graphitints, so I'll probably end up using those in conjunction. And then I was playing this morning, kind of stamping with the wet pencil on the stamps, and I kind of like what I did with the goldfish here. If I tip it in the light, you can see it shine. This was the dragonfly I tried to replicate, but it didn't turn out so well. And this was my first attempt just stamping, and that was it. So this, you know, when you go, these two I went over with pencil, so it does have a little bit more metallic flair. This little part, goodness, this little part here, I use my brush to take color directly off the lead of my pencil, and it's very opaque, but it still doesn't feel as sparkly as I feel like it ought to be for metallic, for something labeled metallic. Maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm expecting too much. I don't know, but that's just how I see it. I would hate for somebody to spend nearly 30 bucks on this and then, you know, be disappointed with it. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to dampen my little dragonfly stamp. These dragonflies are by About Art Accents, and you can look for a giveaway on my blog coming up soon, maybe this week. I really ought to get do this week. So I'll be giving away the nature set that these stamps are from. And I hope you go over to my blog. The link is under the video, and you can subscribe so that way you won't miss it when I post the giveaway. So all you gotta do is leave a comment on that post. I keep it pretty easy over there. And I don't have too many spaces where I can stamp. I kind of box myself in there. We'll put that there. I think I'll do another one over there. It's probably wet enough that I can just throw the color on. So I think, you know, I like to definitely give my supplies a fair chance. It might turn out that I just love these, and I hope that's the case. I really do. I'm definitely going to play with them quite a bit to see if I can, you know, get them to meet my expectations a little bit more. Maybe right there. As of yet, I'm still kind of, I don't really regret it. It was only $12, and I like to learn new things, but I am wishing they were a little shinier. And I think also the more that I use them, the better they may work, because they're, you know, they're getting softened up with the water that I'm using. Some people say never dip your pencil. I just dip the lead just in a little bit of water, and I kind of go, see, I'm just like a tiny little drop of water on the tip of that, and then I go in and color it so I can stamp with it. Some people will say do not do that. I haven't had a problem with it, so, you know, use your own judgment on that. Don't set it in the water. Goodness, if you do that, then you're gonna be in trouble. But I think you're fine just doing this. All right, I kind of like the composition where the dragonfly, kind of the Z composition that kind of takes your eye through the picture. I'm gonna heat set those. We'll just kind of dry them so you can see they get much brighter when they're dry. I'm liking this a lot more than the other one, I have to say. Okay, let's take a look here. Now if I want, I got a little glue string in there. Oh, and now it's stuck to my paper because I just heat it. That's alright. I think I'll add a little bit of silver to some of these. And the silver is releasing very well because I just dipped it in water. Just want to give it a little bit of extra bling. And now what I think I'm going to do is actually pause the camera and go see if I can find a nice layer to put underneath this. So hang on a moment and we'll finish up this card. Okay, I grabbed this kind of lavender colored cardstock and I like it, but I think it's missing something. What I'm going to do is actually take my silver pencil. I feel like it needs a bit of a border, so I think I'll just kind of color along the edge there, just kind of give it a little bit of a border. It's cheaper than adding another layer, and I don't have another layer handy. I'm not exactly sure what color I would use, so I'm just going to keep it with the colors I've already been using. And again, it's something else to try with these pencils, because, you know, if you bought it, you paid for it, you own it, figure out a way to use it. Because, you know, if you just keep buying new things because you're unhappy with what you've already got, then you'll never, you know, you'll never realize the potential of your supplies. And it is a poor carpenter that blames his tools, right? Right. That's what I think. So, yeah, I'm definitely going to give this a little, you know what I'm going to do, though? I think I'm gonna grab a, I feel like I need something. I'm gonna stamp something on this background. Hold on a moment. All right, I grabbed my Orchid Opulence Stampin' Up! Pad. This was discontinued a couple of years ago. Of course, now, this year, the color of the year is Pantone's Radiant Orchid. So, if you have the stamp set, the stamp pad, you're probably doing well to use it because it's going to be a very popular color. I'm not bothering with the middle. I'm only stamping around the edge because that's all you're going to see. Okay, and then I'm also going to ink the edge just to make it a little bit bolder and artsy looking, because this is a very artsy looking card. We don't have anything clean and simple or perfect. It's all very devil may care here. And there, I'm going to adhere that down with my ATG gun, which of course is across the room. One moment, please. You know, I think I might have broken a record for the amount of times I've had to pause a video during its production. Good grief. All right, let's put some adhesive on this bad boy and stick her down. And there we have it. I feel like I want a little more detail on that dragonfly though, so I think what I might do is just kind of grab, you know what, there's this pewter color. I don't know if it's going to stand up or not, but let me just give it a whirl. I just feel like I just want some more detail on this body. It got very mushed out when I wet the stamp and I was coloring the stamp. I feel like I lost a lot of detail there. It's kind of one of those, you never know what you're going to get. Like a box of chocolates when you do this technique. So it's kind of fun. I like those little surprises. Now see, now because the stamp, I just used this green and I had some water on it, it really wants to release and give me lots of gorgeous color. So I think, you know, these pencils are just going to take me a little getting used to, a little practice time. And, you know, I'll explore the possibilities and see what I can get these to do, because I really, really want to love them. You know what I mean? You get those supplies and this ones, you just really want to love them. And I'm hoping that will be the case with these guys. That's pretty much it for me. I just wanted to play around with the Oriental Stamp Art sketch and make a little video for you, because I really didn't have anything planned today. Please give me a thumbs up and subscribe if you like this video. If you have any questions, you can leave a comment below. You can check us out on Facebook and share your creations. And I want to thank you so much for watching. Until next time, happy crafting.